Welcome to the Zeducation podcast, where it's all about helping you unleash your greatness. Welcome to our Zeducation podcast. On this episode, we interview the founder of GameTan, Raynor Cocker. GameTan is an organization that focuses on unleashing the greatness of our youth or rangatahi here in New Zealand. GameTan uses gaming. Yes, I'm talking about PlayStation, Xbox, computer games to help youth learn principles and even life skills. They don't just use gaming, but they use the story, the characters in the games, and even animes if you're into that, helping students to relate these principles like health, mental health, well-being, and these other principles that are important and essential for them to succeed later in life. And so, very clever and very smart. We also get to hear about Raynor Cocker's experience and his story on how he started GameTan and some of the struggles he went through being in a family business. Stick around, get ready to take some notes, and be prepared for some awesome advice and lessons that you can potentially action and unleash your greatness. Enjoy the podcast. So welcome to our Zeducation podcast. Today we've got our special guest, Raynor Cocker, who is the GameTan founder and also co-founder of Orakura. Did I pronounce that correctly? Orakura?
Yep, Orakura, yep.
And founder of Māori and Pacifica Tech Activation Trust. Man, you're a busy guy.
Yeah. Oh, it's not too bad. You know, you try your best.
Nice. Yeah, well, hey, thank you for jumping on our podcast today. Our podcast is all about helping people unleash their greatness. So we have awesome speakers like yourself who are experienced and who we consider quite successful as well and doing amazing things, who can share maybe their stories, some advice, just to help people unleash their greatness. And we're talking about people who are thinking about maybe taking the next step in their career, whether that be in digital, in this case here, or it might be just starting a business or growing their business if they already got one. And so, yeah, thank you for jumping on board to help our listeners. I guess just before we get started, Raynor, just introduce a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Ray, Raynor is my full name. Thank you for this opportunity, Bussy, and Zeducation. But yeah, so basically what I do is all those things that Bussy mentioned, and also right now I'm focusing on our company called GameTan. That's pretty much what I'm focusing on now, and it's a education company similar to Zeducation, but we focus on kids. That's our biggest focus is on kids and rangatahi. And the way that we teach, our approach is quite different. We focus, kids have a shorter attention span, so we put a lot of our emphasis and focus on engagement with kids. So we love to use the latest technology, video games, software, and just technology to get the kids fully engaged, involved in learning, having fun while learning.
Nice.
So that's our sort of approach. That's our kind of difference. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're working with kids, and I assume that you're working a lot with schools then?
Yes, yeah, we work. That's probably our main sort of bread and butter is schools. Working with schools and the community. Yeah.
It's awesome. And is that all over New Zealand or just Auckland region at the moment?
Yeah, so our main focus is South Auckland. So a big thing I'm passionate about. I guess you could say the less privileged. Being myself, I was born and raised in South Auckland, Tongan. I was born and raised in Mangere in a garage with my grandma and my little brother Winston, and that's where life started for me. So that's why we love working with South Auckland and wherever similar to myself, just less privileged, but yeah.
Nice. So you basically kind of gone through it yourself. You know what it feels like, and you kind of want to help people.
Yeah. That's our biggest purpose. On the side, obviously, the bonus is the money. But yeah, definitely, that's a huge foundation for GameTan right now. Yep.
I can imagine it being quite challenging sometimes to teach youth and to keep them engaged. It's definitely different to teaching adults because that's what we do here at Zeducation,
Oh, yep.
predominantly focus on. But I guess, what do you do to keep them engaged? These, and we're talking about youth. We're talking about the ages of high school, right? And under, is that correct?
Yep, that's right. For us, it's surprisingly quite easy because as soon as they walk into the room and they see the PS5 and the Xbox X and all the the gaming computers with the flashy lights, all the kids straight away they're engaged. So really lucky that that we've taken that approach, and also the way that we teach, we like to be relevant to the kids. So we know that a lot of the kids love watching anime these days. So we always talk about if we're teaching, we mention anime. Some characters, some anime characters, they never give up. So if students are having a hard time, with a topic that we're teaching, we just we bring up like, oh, you watch anime, never give up, like your favorite character, like that character on Demon Slayer or whatever it is. So yeah, we like to keep it real with our kids and not like say things that are too over their head, like, oh guys, you gotta learn from your mistakes and blah blah blah. Sometimes that goes over their head and they hear that so much that they're just like, who cares? But when we relate their favorite things that they enjoy to what they're going through now, to their struggles now, then it's way more easier for them to understand and be like, yo, if, that guy never gave up. I can never give up too. I keep going, keep learning, keep trying my best. Yeah, we love to use video games as an example. We just say to them, hey, when you started playing Fortnite, were you bad at it? Yeah. But when you keep playing, did you get better? Yeah, I just keep playing and I got better. And then we just say, man, this is the same thing. You can learn and you can get better. That's the same thing in life. That's the way we teach. Yeah, so we're real lucky to be able to engage with our youth well. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think it's quite clever, in fact, how you use a gaming to get people to learn principles, even life principles, never giving up, right? Keep
Yeah.
going. I mean, you even use characters or animes or things that they're mostly interested right now, probably watching,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And let's be honest, like a lot of us watch, probably consuming a lot of Netflix right now. I mean, I was
Yeah. Yeah.
watching a movie the other day on Netflix, and even though it's all pretend and stuff like that, there is a lot of emotion that goes behind the movie. You kind of imagine
Yeah.
yourself in the movie and the story, and you kind of feel it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and I remember in my upbringing, a lot of the things I used to be into, the cartoons like Pokemon, Dragon
Yep.
Ball Z, all that kind of stuff, and I used to envision myself being one of the characters, or
Yeah.
the story became very real. And so, what you're able to do at GameTan is take all of that real stuff that they're already experiencing and feeling, and to teach them life principles,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yeah.
pretty
That's it.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a
Cheers,
win-win
bro.
there.
Yeah. Cheers.
That's pretty cool. Hey, I want to throw in a comment in here because you're using gaming to
Mm.
teach our youth, our rangatahi, right? And you've probably seen it in the news already. What's happening in China and how they've put a ban on
Yeah.
gaming, right? They've gone from so much hours to like only 3 hours a week or
Yep.
so of gaming time, because they view gaming as being something that's a distraction to learning.
Yeah.
Whereas you're the total opposite. You're on the flip side. You're saying no, it can feed learning. Gaming can feed learning. It's not a distraction. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So you know what China is doing. That's what they think is best for them. For us, we do use gaming, um, and anime and fun stuff as principles to teach to teach topics, but we do also emphasize and sort of like solidify the fact that we need to still have screen time. Like um, yeah. So there's a point to having fun. We try to teach our kids like to use having fun as an incentive from your hard work. So I try to teach that to my nephew and nieces as well. Like, okay, guys, do all your chores and stuff. Once you've done all your work, your schoolwork, and then you can have fun and then play a game and enjoy yourself. So we don't push to always play games all the time. We just use it as a tool for engagement. Yeah, it's all about putting in the mahi first and then having fun. But yeah, as I said, it's just a tool of engagement. But we do teach well-being in terms of technology. You
Mm.
know, well-being, mental health, all that sort of stuff. Because you know, it's like it's if you do anything for too long, you know, it sometimes makes you crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's awesome. So you mentioned there it's you use gaming as a reward or incentive or a tool,
yeah,
right? To bridge a gap between, solving a problem to, to solution type of thing, or
yeah.
just learning something, right? You mentioned mental health and well-being. How do you use gaming to teach mental health?
So in terms of mental health, we don't really use gaming to teach mental health. We like to use anime and things like that to teach
Hmm.
mental health. Yeah. So just basing it off characters. If we do use gaming, we're using video game characters that will fit that topic. But there's we don't have any games that can teach sort of mental health other than the stories itself inside the games. Same
Hmm.
with anime. So the way that we teach any mental health topic is we'll use a slide, but all these slides will have pictures of and examples of you know, strong mental health characters that the kids can relate to, and they can also be, you know, be inspired and be like, yo, I can do that too. And we also love using real life characters as well, you know, like their grandparents or their mother or
Hmm.
father who's hardworking, and you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest here. I'm a bit of a gamer myself.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right.
same, bro.
Yes. 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 I run businesses and stuff, but like you, I use it as a treat and a reward sometimes, or
Yeah,
maybe just to relax and kind of distract myself from all the busyness of work and that. Right. And I like to play Fortnite quite a bit. And the reason why I like to play Fortnite is because I get to play with my friends. Like,
yes,
there's something about connecting, even though you're not right there next to each other in the same room, you can still talk to each other and be online and play in the same team, like squads and that, and still
yeah,
have a good time. And for me, it's about spending time with friends and connecting with them, especially during lockdown when it's very hard to go out there and visit people. This is a nice tool, like you said, gaming, nice
yeah,
tool to help connect and we need that for mental health. We need that to
yeah.
connect and to be with other people socially. But I guess like just building on that, what are some benefits for not just youth but even like adults, like when it comes to like maybe playing games or animes or anything related to GameTan?
So yeah, so right now, the only thing I can think of off the top of my head, there's like been heaps of studies on it that you could easily Google, or the viewers can Google. But the ones that come to my head straight away are understanding systems, you know, understanding systems, understanding the processes. A lot of times when we play video games, we don't think about that. We just think we just do it. But there's like a process to a lot of things that you do. There's a system to a lot of things that you do in video games, and that engages your mind. You know, it stimulates your brain.
Mm,
So a lot of brain stimulation. There's also the social aspects that you mentioned, being able to play with your friends, being able to play with your families, heaps of learning and playing video games in terms of those systems. That's the first thing that comes to my mind straight away. And another thing is, you know, having fun. That's always a big.
yeah,
That's always a big benefit.
you can't forget
Having
that.
fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got to enjoy it, right? I guess for yourself, what do you play? Anything?
Right now I'm playing an old school game called Diablo 2. Yeah, that's probably like it's like a, you know, there's games where you level up and you get stronger and you, yeah, I play that with my mate right now. I'm playing it with my mate Steph. So um yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the shows that I'm watching, I just finished Squid Game. And the anime I'm watching is One Piece. And
Hmm.
yeah, right now I finished that One Piece. I finished watching some old school ones, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun.
Nice.
Um, they're making live shows for that now on Netflix, so that's pretty cool because they're real popular. I didn't know that they were popular because, you know, New Zealand, we just know the new mainstream ones, but yeah, a lot of the old ones are pretty good. But yeah, Yeah, so I'm a big gamer myself, consumer myself.
Nice. Walking the talk there, that's what we call it.
Yeah.
Nice. How are you on Ticket?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not too
Did
bad. Yeah, I remember we played ages ago. Hey,
I beat
um,
you?
yeah, you probably did, bro. Are you the king player or was that
Yeah,
someone else?
man. I'm king, man. That's my favorite
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, I remember we played ages ago, but yeah, you beat me. Yeah, you're pretty good at that, eh?
Oh, shit, I can't remember beating so many people. It's hard
And
to.
this guy. Yeah, you playing Tekken 7 now, eh?
Well, I see Ticket 7, but really it's the any Ticket. Any Ticket.
Yeah. True.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yo, let's go. Awesome.
What about Fortnite? Do you play that every now and then?
Nah, I play with my nephew and nieces. I play with my friends, but I'm just that guy. Oh, if they can't find anyone, they're just like, "Oh, Ray, can you play with us, please?" Like, and I'm just the guy. I just hang around in the back, and they carry me the whole way. Bro, I'm real bad at the game, but
Yeah,
it is a fun game, bro. It is.
so you like those RPG games, eh?
Yeah,
Like
right.
Diablo,
Like
Final Fantasy.
I used to be like real like competitive player, multiplayer and stuff. These days I just like to relax, you know, especially with a lot of projects and stuff we gotta do. So these days I just like to relax, just play like story based games. Anything with story. Yeah. And then RPG, I don't mind like as long as it's relaxing and not too big, I just put it on easy.
Just for the story.
Just put it on easy and then I just play for story, you know, I just want to relax. Yeah, but that's where I am now in my gaming life. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What are kids? What's hot at the moment in terms of gaming and animes
Oh
for kids?
yes. Probably the biggest stuff right now is still Fortnite. Also, you know, Modern Warfare, you know, Call of Duty, all those types of games. What the younger kids really enjoy these days is Roblox and Minecraft.
Wow.
And in terms of anime, probably like Demon Slayer. That's probably the one that I've heard about the most from kids. Yeah, I don't know if you've watched that, but yeah, that's probably the biggest
Yeah, I
one.
think I have on Netflix, Demon
Yeah,
Slayer. Yeah,
yeah,
actually, I
yeah.
have. I've seen the Squid Games that you've talked about. Man, that's
That was good. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah.
yeah.
Reminded me of watching an anime. You know, when I watch like the other shows, a lot of it is quite too slow for me.
Hmm.
But then when you watch Squid Games, it's like there's a lot of really interesting parts that happen in each episode, and
Yeah.
you're just stuck on there, eh?
Yeah, just hooked. I watched the whole thing. I mean, there's another one that I'm watching. It's an equivalent as well on Netflix. It's
What's it
like
called?
those friends where they get like they're in Tokyo, then all of a sudden, like they're hiding in the cubicle in the toilets. Then all of a sudden, like the whole town's missing, like disappeared. Everyone's just gone, and then and they've just gone into this whole gaming thing,
Oh, I'm keen to
survival.
watch that. Is that an anime or is that
No, it's a real life
live
one, like
action?
Squid
Yeah,
Game.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. What was that one called? I'm
I
keen
gotta
to
figure
watch
out
it.
what it is, but I am watching it at the moment.
My
Yeah,
sister told me to watch Alice in Borderlands. Is that the one?
that's the one. That's the one.
Oh,
Alice in
okay.
Borderland.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, sweet, sweet,
that's
sweet,
the one.
sweet, sweet. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
that's like Squid Game too. But hey, how did GameTan start?
Yeah, GameTan. So you know, I shared a little bit about my story earlier. How we grew up really poor. And then I kind of just drifted in life a little bit. Until I finally reached an age where I was like, man, I need to do something better for my family. You know, that's when I realized, you know, my mom and dad, they work hard for me. They work hard to put food on the table, get my clothes, uniforms, paid for my education. And when I realized that, it was probably around mid 20s, and then I thought to myself, you know, I really need to do something that will help my family. So that's when I started. That's when I started thinking about different businesses. So the first business was Orakora, but we're talking about GameTan. So that one is doing well enough to sustain itself. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna try start something that I love to do, which is gaming. And that's when Game 10 started. Yeah, and how we started it was basically I was like, you know what, I want to do something with gaming, but I don't know what to do with it. So what I'll do is I'll set up a stall at the night markets in Pakuranga, and I'll just chuck up a TV screen with a PlayStation, and we'll just go from there. And that's how
Wow.
it started, man. Like, I told everybody, look, I'm just going to try it out and just see what happens. So what I did was I didn't know how to open up a stall at the night markets. I just searched it, and there was a number there, and then it was like a Chinese lady at the end. She was like, "What you want?" And I was like, "Oh, is this how you book a stall?" And she goes, "Yeah, you want one?" And I was like, "Wow, this is crazy, bro." Like, and then I said, "Yeah, can I get one?" And then she gave us a stall at Christmas because this is when I wanted to set up the store. But she said, "Okay, that's double cost because Christmas." And I was like, "What?" And that's when I came to a decision. Hey, should I get it now or should I get it later after Christmas period? And then I was like, you know what, man? Like, I might as well just bite the bullet and just pay the extra and just give it a shot, you know?
Wow.
So we did it, bro. We did it, and we set up like a PlayStation. We had a PlayStation there, and we had a Nintendo Switch there, and the screen, and we just played Tekken and Street Fighter. We took heaps of photos. We didn't make it. We didn't make anyone pay. It was all for free. So we
Mm.
had heaps of people come through, and we even had an All Black. We had Kevin Mealamu come in, and we were like, "Yo, Kevin!"
Wow.
I was like calling out to him, "Kevin, please come play." He came and played. We took heaps of photos. It was cool as, man. It was cool as. And then after that, we posted those photos on LinkedIn, and then
Mm.
that's when people from the Ministry of Education and Auckland Council started messaging us. They were like, "Oh, can you run this for our kids? Can you run this for our kids?" And then that's when we were like, "Oh man, we found something. We found a demand." And that's when and then like, even though at the time when they asked me, I couldn't run those things. I didn't have the ability to run those things, but I just said yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just said yes, I can run it. And they're like, "Can you do this for me?" Yes, I can run it. Can you do this? Yes, I can run it. And then after that, in my head, I was like, "Bro, we can't run it, but I'll figure it out later." And yeah, and then we ended up figuring it out. We showed there was a demand, and yeah, and then we just picked it up from there. And we had to come together as a family. I showed my dad like the contracts that were coming in, but we couldn't run it. But it was just like these contracts of payment that we had to sign. I said, "Dad, look, here's the demand. Like, we pitch in?" And my dad was real hesitant that first day, real
Mm.
hesitant, and my family was real hesitant. My brothers and sisters, they were like, "I don't know." And then finally, they gave in, and they were like, when they saw the piece of paper and it had the amount, they were like, "Oh, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it." Yeah, and so yeah, and then that's how we started, man. Yeah,
That's an awesome story. It started with obviously you started talking about doing something for your family, your parents.
yeah,
The core of it was that's where it all started,
that's
and
it. Yeah,
then you're like, your passion as well for gaming, and you just gave things a go. I love how you just proactively just picked up the phone, just booked in a store, just went ahead and made it happen, right? And then you
yeah, yeah,
posted up on LinkedIn, again showing the power of using social media to get stuff out there. And then you're able to grab people's attention. And we're not just talking about anybody, we're talking about the Ministry of Education and that, the
yeah.
council wanting to work with you. What a great idea. And then how long has it been now? And look at where you're at.
Yeah, it's been like 2 years now, going to 3 years next year. So yeah, we so Otakota is a marketing company, and that everyone knows a marketing company. But because we were so different, we exploded so quickly. Like
Mm.
after the first year, we just blew up, and that's where it was truly a blessing from Heavenly Father that we're able to get to where we are today. So obviously there's heaps more work to do. We haven't cracked it or anything like that. So yeah, still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it sounds like us here at Zeducation. I mean, I remember when I first started
Yeah,
Zeducation as a sole trader and stuff, and trying to get my wife and Kalolo, my brother, on board. It took a while, a lot of convincing and stuff like that. But
yeah,
eventually
yeah.
they gave in, and it's exactly like you guys. Like you don't know how to do it yet, but you just said yes, and you took the challenge anyway. And you
That's
just
it.
figure it out bit by bit, every step along the way.
Yeah, that's it, man. Exactly.
I guess like in your journey of finding your passion and then turning it into like this awesome business, you've got your family involved as well. and you're making these great impacts in the community, especially for our youth. I guess, what advice would you give people who are thinking about maybe following the passion or maybe starting a business?
My advice to everyone, like from just is all based from my experience, but is just is to take action.
Mm,
Yeah, like a lot of times, like in my life, through my experience, I had a lot of doubts with with a lot of things that I wanted to do. Like I was like, oh man, I always wanted to start a business, but then for like my whole life, that like up till like around mid 20s, I didn't take action. Like I just said, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. So my biggest advice is just do it. Even if you don't know how or where to start, just do it and just try. Because if you don't try, you'll never get anywhere.
mm,
You'll never take that without taking that first step. You won't be able to take that next step. You'll just be like at the bottom of the stairs, just umming and like just like that the whole time, and you're not getting anywhere. So for me, like yeah, definitely take action. Um, like going to and like think about your options. Like if you want to go to school to learn something, like let's say if you want to go to school to learn about business, I didn't go to school to learn about business myself. I just
mm,
tried it. Going to school is good for business because then at least you know the theory side of it, where you can get like jobs elsewhere as a business analyst or something like that. But you're still not owning your own business. If you want to own your own business, be like those guys on Marketplace. Just take action,
mm,
bake some cookies, start selling it. Just whatever. And then from there you'll learn, man. You'll get better. Like I started with no knowledge, and then like going through the journey myself and losing money, making money, losing money again.
mm.
You learn so fast that way, and I've learned so fast in the last how many years. And then these people want to study business, they're still learning in those past 3 years. They're still learning right now. So honestly, just take action. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one for me in terms of business. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of business, well, I think in terms of even life in general, just taking
True.
action.
True. Yeah.
I like that analogy of crossing the river. Some people want to see all the rocks first, or see the pathway before they actually jump. Whereas what we're saying here is sometimes you only see as far as the next rock in front of you. So it's just like,
Mm.
okay, you're looking around, okay, you only see that one rock. You take that leap of faith from where you are to that rock, and
Yeah.
then you're looking for the next rock after that. And it's just this process, step by step, taking it one at a time. And the main thing is taking action. And when you keep doing that, eventually you've crossed a river. And it's like you don't have to see the whole path to
Yeah.
take action, but you do
That's
have
right.
to take action to get through the path, or to
That's it, man.
make the path.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. I totally agree. Just take the action, eh? Wow, even though you didn't see where it's going, just take it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people don't take action, right? They fear
Yeah, see,
rejection or failing, what people might think. There's so many, right? But I guess stemming from that, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered along your journey, and how have you overcome it?
so the biggest one for me, to be real, is my family. That was the biggest one. Like, a lot of them, they were all against me when I first started. I'm just being real with you. A lot of them are like, all of them, they were like so against me. Even when we did chip in for to start the business, like during maybe like a month, 2 months later, straight away everyone was already on me, like just saying, just give up, just go find a normal job. Because I spent like a whole probably a year or so just living at home, living off my parents because we weren't making any money.
Mm,
And then when we went out to restaurants and we had family gatherings, I couldn't pay for myself. So a lot of them were like, oh, just go find a job. Just go find a job. Don't worry about it. Like you're wasting your time. So that was the biggest. That was the biggest one for me, man. Like we had massive family arguments and stuff.
mm,
They just didn't believe in what I was doing, and coming from the church, because I go to church. I go to Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints, and in church we always learn about like people some people don't understand, and that's how I looked at it. I looked at
mm,
my family, they don't understand yet, sort of what I'm trying to do with this. And yeah, at the time it was very, very hard. So I can imagine a lot of our own people going through that, because maybe their parents, maybe their siblings don't understand. Um, but I really appreciate that I went through that experience, because it helped me become a better person. It helped me understand and become a better person myself. Um, so yeah, like, you can't become a better person without those trials, without those
Yeah.
experiences. So that was the biggest challenge for me. Like, was just like dealing with my family and my partner at the time. She's not with me anymore. Yeah, and that was because of the business as well, like just a lot of arguments and stuff. But I learned a lot, and my family learned a lot, and even my ex-partner, she learned a lot too. Like, we all learned a lot through this experience, and we've all become better people through this experience, because my family ended up realizing, like, man, like, we are dragging this guy down, so they learned a lot too. So it was a very good experience for all of us, even though it was very painful at that time. it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it's like, at the time, you're like crying, and you're like, hating life. But then after all those trials and stuff, after it happens, everyone's laughing about it, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the biggest trial for me. And I just wanted to be real, because um yeah, it's just, so that our people can understand what they're getting into. Not everyone is going to support you. Not everything is going to be on your lap. So yeah, definitely, like, that's another big thing, is just never give up, like, take action and never give up. Yeah, because you will eventually get there. You will eventually get there. It's just how it works, eh? It's how life works. If you never give up and you keep trying, you'll get there. Even if you try this way, oh no, it doesn't work that way. Oh no, this way worked, so you'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. No, I love it because I find it very inspiring. One of the reasons why is because that's what I'm experiencing at the moment, or what I have experienced. Is education
yeah,
is a family business. Got my wife there, got Kalolo there, three directors, and yeah, we have our conflict and arguments. And what we've done here is education, especially being a family business, is that we've normalized that. Like we expect that we're going to argue, we expect
yeah.
that we're going to have a bit of conflict, but at least we're arguing towards a solution. That's the main thing.
That's
That
right.
we're,
Yeah,
that we're fighting towards a solution, but not fighting each other.
yeah.
And that saying, it's not who's right, it's what's right. That's more
Exactly.
important,
Yeah,
right? But yeah, I find that story very inspiring and very emotional as well, very real. And you are right. Sometimes our family can be our biggest trial, in a good way, And there's no shortcut to success, right?
yeah. There's
No
no
shortcut
shortcut.
to success.
No
You
shortcut.
gotta take the hard way. Gotta take the hard way if you
Yeah.
really want the best. I guess what advice can you give for people who are thinking about going into a family business together, or who are already in a family business and might be struggling to work things out and be a team? Like, what advice can you give around that?
Yeah. My biggest advice would be the communication side, like you said, like communicating with your family. Part of the reason why we argued a lot was because also I didn't make any money, and I was like a bum basically as for my family. But another big reason was I wasn't open and transparent with my family. Like, I wasn't openly communicating with my family. All I did was I did the work. I came home and I didn't say anything. I just thought, yep, I'm doing the work. That's fine. But you need to be open with your family as well, or open to your business partners, because they're you don't know what they're thinking. In their mind, they're probably like, oh, is this guy even working? Like, is this guy even doing
Hmm.
anything? Or is this guy, and then that's when their stress starts building up. And then, they hold their tongue, like being with Maori or Pacifica families, a lot of us will hold their tongue and just be chill about it. But then there comes a point where they're gonna just be like, are you working, bro? Are you doing, and then it turns into like a conflict. But yeah, that's probably the biggest one if you're getting into a business with your family, is first of all, um you gotta be able to openly communicate with your family and just be real with them, and just be like, oh, I'm not saving any money. I'm spending money. I'm spending money on this or whatever it may be, because it's gonna happen. And I had that experience with my dad like last week. Um, we were sitting down, and then my dad was mumbling. He was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, not giving us any money, blah 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 blah." Like those ones. And then that's when I was like, "Oh, sorry, Dad. What did you say?" And then after that, my mom just came out and said, "Oh, your dad always complains to me at nighttime, telling me that, like, where's our money? What's he doing with our money? Where's it going? All this sort of stuff." And then finally, my dad came out. He said, "Son, like, we're not seeing any money. We're not getting, we're in lockdown now." And I told him, I said, "Dad, I told you that what we're trying to save money for the overhead costs for our business. But I'm glad you told me, because now I can pay you. How much do you want?" And then I sent that money to my dad. And then my mom said, "Oh, that's good now. He's happy now. He can go to sleep happy." And I said, "Man, you guys gotta tell me this stuff. And also, I gotta be transparent
Yes.
too. I gotta ask them, how are you guys? It's locked down. Do you guys need help?" Because that's what the business was for. It was for them, it's for my family. So that's just an experience that I had last week. And yeah, so just be open and communicate well, I guess.
It's so true. It's so true. Here at Zeducation, we have experienced what you guys have experienced, where you're just growing.
Yeah, yeah,
And when you first start off, it's like everyone's doing anything and everything,
yeah,
and it's like there's that level of trust as well. But when it starts to grow, the business requires more structure and more clarity around who's doing what, responsibility.
yeah.
For example, here at Zeducation, me, Kalol, and Sandra, we all look after different clients, and then it's about, like, how do we make sure that the decisions and what you discuss in that meeting was actually beneficial for education, right?
True.
There has to be that level of trust as
Yeah,
well as
exactly.
open communication. So we always make sure that we have meetings to realign, and an agenda as well, to make sure that we communicate openly. I guess one of the things we've applied as well, brother, is this thing called the 6 thinking hats. And this thing has been such a lifesaver for our business and our team. It's helped reduce arguments big time. And basically, what the thinking hat does is, like, there's different hats, different colors. There's one for just feelings, expressing your feelings. One for white hat, so there's no subjective feeling. It's just facts and evidence. Then you've got your yellow hat for positivity, black hat for, like, negative things.
Yep.
Right. And so when we're in our meetings, we make sure that we talk about or plan what hats we're wearing in that meeting, right? Instead of just our open communication, but in that meeting we're just talking about anything, everything, and there's no action points. We're not making clean or clear decisions from that meeting, right? And that's the purpose of having frameworks like that. I guess, do you guys use anything similar to coordinate all your conversations and decision making?
Well, for me, because GameTan is sort of my thing. Everyone else is doing their own businesses. And that was a big blessing as well, was that, we opened everyone else's mind to big businesses. But that is definitely something that I'll be keen to implement with the GameTan team. Where we sit right now, I'm the one that makes all the decisions. I'm the only director. So that's where we are at the moment. But yeah, definitely would love to implement that. Even with my family, it would be great to just hear their feelings about where everyone is in terms of their own businesses, and what they feel about GameTan, and what I feel about my brother's business and my sister's business. So yeah, so definitely be awesome to implement those frameworks, those systems,
Yeah.
for those reasons that you mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I think it's very important, man.
Yeah.
Especially if your business starts to grow, it definitely requires more structure, especially around communication structure, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing we've found helpful in a family business is having values, core values in our business. So me, Kalolo, and Sandra sat down, we had our strategy session, and we were like, what are the values in our business? What's going to guide us in how we think, make decisions, how we treat each other? And our three values basically came down to three of them. So one is innovation, so innovating. So that allows us to share our ideas, be open. So there's no arguments around when someone brings up an idea. It's like, hey, there's a potential opportunity. We don't all of a sudden go negative about it.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
that
part of
person
your
down.
values.
We're like, cool, it's one of our values. Let's be open-minded. Let's hear it out. Let's see if there is anything. The
Yeah.
other value that we have is being human. So being human meaning like, we make mistakes. Like failure is part of growth. It's part of learning. We believe in that. We celebrate every time there's a challenge. So we normalize that. And if you've got something to share, just like your dad, we create that safe space to do it. And it's about being human. And in our meetings every week, we always do a check-in and be like, before we start and talk about business, we're like, how are you feeling? Where's your headspace at right now, type of thing, and what can we do to support? That's another thing. And then
Awesome.
our third value is sharing. So just sharing your gifts, your talents, not keeping it secretive, not keeping it to yourself, but sharing it. Yeah. Do you guys have any values or anything like that?
We don't have any set core values yet. That is something that I'd love to do. But pretty much I can think a few of my head right now, but we haven't yet. So yeah, that'll be nice to get to do.
I guess some people already are they're probably not even talking about it, but they're already doing it. Hey, some of those values. So you guys are probably already doing it. You just haven't put a name to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's why as soon as you started talking about it, it started coming to mind. I was like, oh yeah, we've done. Yeah, that's the stuff that we pretty much can be our core values. We do have a purpose and statements, but definitely need a value. Yeah.
What is that purpose, brother? I'm just curious to know.
So our purpose is to allow or to I haven't. There's no memorized sort of part to it. It's just basically giving the opportunity to our rangatahi to learn through technology.
Nice.
Yeah, and just fun and engagement. Yeah, that's probably our main purpose. Is to basically give these kids opportunities to for career pathways into the technology space, but using technology. Yeah, because technology is the future. Like apps, all that sort of stuff, technology, the gadgets. It's all what they're doing now, especially with automation and AI. A lot of that stuff's gonna be taken over, especially for our people. So that's where our foundation for that is, to get them into tech career pathways.
Yeah, talking about Pacifica, in fact, and Maori, well, just Indigenous people in the tech space, it's quite low, eh? I know
Real low.
the kaupapa that we're working on at the moment with Microsoft, Tuputoa, even with Auckland Unlimited, is all to do with helping Pacifica and Māori people upskill digitally. Because one of the reasons why is like what you said, is things like automation, right? A lot of their jobs that our people are in is very manual and hands-on.
Yeah.
A lot of that's being replaced by machines in there. I mean, I think about
That's
my
right.
dad. My dad, when he worked at Kerry Juice, his job got replaced by a machine. And so he had no job after that. And so us siblings had to help him find a job. He didn't even know how to write a CV, how to apply for jobs. So we had to like sit down on the computer, help him apply. And then he found a bus driver job. It's things like that. You don't want them to be impacted and left behind just because they didn't have digital skills. You want them to like move up or move sideways.
Yeah. It's future proofing them, mate. Just future proofing. Just making sure that they have the tools, skill sets, and mindset ready to take on the future workplace. Yeah, for all these examples you shared, that's all the reasons, man.
From your opinion or from your perspective, what are some trends that you're seeing in the digital tech space or gaming industry that we should be mindful of?
Yep. So definitely in terms of the tech space, AI. So AI is huge. Automation, we talked about that already. Also, VR and AR, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. That's huge right now. Companies are using AR and VR for training. So instead of training them in person. They use VR technology and VR software to train their workers, which is awesome. So that's real low cost, and they can do it at their own time at home, so they don't have to go to work, and then they spend a lot of time with their own workers, having to train these new workers. So that's a huge trend now. Also, with AR technology that we need to keep an eye out for is using augmented reality, like like let's say for a plumber needs to fix these particular pipes, but when he turns up to the job, he doesn't know which pipe it is. But if he puts on the AR goggles, it'll have like a arrow pointing to which pipe. So you
Wow.
don't have to call up the guy and be like, "Hey, which pipe it is and which bit? That bit over there, blah blah blah." They don't have to say that. They just put on the AR goggles, and they see a big arrow pointing at the pipe and exactly where, and notes saying what's wrong, and then they can just get into it straight away, no hassle. So a lot of that. Also, that's probably the biggest ones on the top of my head. And also the latest gadgets, technology gadgets and AI that's taking over jobs that, even things as simple as the McDonald's, how they got the kiosks
Yep.
taking over the jobs, like at Green Lane McDonald's. There's heaps of kiosks there. There's nobody taking orders anymore at the front cashier. So just real simple things like that that's already happening in New Zealand. Self-service stuff, self-service at the grocery store, just heaps of stuff like that. It's already happening. So that's probably but in terms of trends, that's the biggest trends that I can think of right now off the top of my head.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, brother. As we're getting close to the end of our podcast, there's two more questions I want to ask you. And I just want to say, man, what you've shared so far has been very valuable, especially the stuff around family business.
Yeah.
And the raw and the realness of the trials, but also the blessings that can come from it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just been so wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I guess my two questions I wanted to ask. The first one, our country is at a vulnerable time, even throughout the world with COVID and everything. People have probably lost their jobs. We've been, locked in their bubble for some time and haven't been able to see their family. It's very hard overall. I guess, what words of encouragement or advice can you give our listeners?
In terms of the current situation, if you are going through hardship and you are losing your job, or thinking about quitting your job because of certain things, the biggest advice I could give you is don't be afraid to cut your losses and take up a new career, like in technology. Because I could tell, there's all the obvious things they could share, like, your mindset, all that sort of stuff, never giving up. But I'm just, my thing, what I'm thinking about today is just to don't be afraid to cut your losses at your current job or whatever it is you're doing, and take up a new job or a new career path within technology. Like, study if you have to, because if you want to become a better person in any way, shape, or form, you're going to have to go through trials anyway. You're going to have to go through trials, you're going to have to go through hardship. And like for me, not being able, because a lot of the things that we do with GameTan is live, but because we're not able to do anything live, I started looking at how to create video games. And I know nothing about programming. Just started with a little tiny bit working with GameTan, but then now I've created my first game on Roblox. So just using Roblox. So don't be afraid to just like study something new, cut your losses. If you're not working right now and you're in lockdown, don't be afraid to just start studying stuff, man. Heaps of online courses. You could spend in all of lockdown, you could learn like a brand new skill, like creating a game, or just whatever it may be. So that's just something that's out of the box rather than the typical never give up, try your best sort of thing. But yeah, just don't be afraid to cut your losses, guys, and try and start a new endeavor. Could be a new business, learn about business. You could be like me, learn about video games, just anything. Like an example and experience of this was my niece. She started baking cookies, and she's only 10 years old, and now she's thinking about starting her own business and selling these cookies on marketplace, and and just adding and just stuff like that. So yeah, man, like during lockdown is a huge opportunity to try new things. And that's, I guess what I'm trying to say is try new things. I guess I'm just
Yeah.
rambling on and on and on. But yeah, try new things. You never know where it could take you, You never know where it could take you.
Oh, that's awesome. And I guess my final question is, what's next for GameTan?
The next biggest thing for GameTan is accreditation. So we are making our programs, all our fun programs, NCEA accredited for kids of
Wow.
all ages as well, of all ages. So even if you're 10 years old and you come to our program, you can still get those credits and save it under your national student number, so that once they do get to high school, they have an advantage and they've got credits already that they don't have to work for. So that's our biggest thing, is just accreditation. And our next biggest step from there, this whole accreditation thing is because we want to create our own alternative education for rangatahi that don't fit well within the current school system. So just the kids that aren't really engaging well, the naughty kids basically, like, because that's what I was when I was younger. So yeah, that's our biggest goal, is to start a school. But yeah, heaps of work, man. Heaps of work.
Well, love it. Some exciting things. Oh,
Yeah. Truly exciting.
yeah, just wonderful. Love your guys' work. Love the impact that you're making. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, I'm a real chill guy. Just reach out to me on Facebook. My name is just Raynor Cocker. It'll be there as well, or just Ray Cocker. Also go to our website, gametan.co.nz, if you want to reach out there. Also our GameTan Facebook page. It's just GameTan. Just search that up, and it'll have my number and stuff. Like, I just put my real number there. I just try to be real with all the people that we work with. My personal email should be there as well. So reach out to me anytime, guys. I'm always keen to help our people grow and progress. I'm still learning myself. It's all a learning process. So, keen to learn together. And I've learned so much cool stuff today from Zeducation, from Basti. Thank you for sharing all your stuff as well, man. Like, I've learned about, frameworks like the 6 hats that you just mentioned. Also about coming up with core values, to build a solid foundation for my companies and my my other family's businesses as well. So I've received a lot of value as well through this interview, and I truly appreciate it, man. And I love your guys' work and actually your guys' support also.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate those kind words. And especially your way as well, coming your way. Love the impact that you're making. Love the work, especially helping the future of our country, the future of our world, our youth, and teaching them how they can use gaming as a tool to unleash their greatness. And so that's what it's all about. And thank you for jumping on this podcast and sharing your knowledge. You've definitely blessed us today.
Thank you.